Hello, everyone. My name is Silas OZOYA, and I am a tech professional. My focus is finance and technology, so that will be fintech. Um, I had studied MBA in the 2022 cohort here. That's about 3 years ago now. And when I saw the topic about what advice I would give myself, I started laughing because um, I was telling everyone earlier, just before this session, I said, "You this cohort having this, you're pretty lucky because for most of us that came in our cohort, we experimented and figured things out by ourselves. There was nothing like this. There was no guidance. There was nothing to point us or signpost us to. So my journey started even before migrating into the UK, right? I had started a business in 2020, and the business had run into trouble in 2022. And that was what prompted me to figure out what solution I need for the business. And the answer to that was to go and study a proper business course because initially my background was in education. Um, I have a degree in education. I spent about 10 years in the sector in Nigeria before going on to start my business in 2020. And when I thought about doing an MBA and then I looked at the different curriculums, the one for Beckett fit the purpose I really wanted to achieve. And when I looked at the offer, I saw that there was a 12 month and then there was an 18 month with a placement. And one of the things I had researched about the UK, if you want to go into the professional sector or go into any form of profession, they would require you to have a UK work experience. So I opted for the 18 months so that I would sneak in a 6 months work experience before my school is done, and then I will be able to leverage that to go into the fintech profession here in the UK. Now, my point here is for most international students who migrate into the UK, they start planning when they have gotten here. Your planning should start before you leave your country, right? And that's what I did. Interestingly, because of, a lot of people say I'm a people's person. I don't know, make of it what you want, right? But in our cohort, I was one of the first persons to come forward to support people with whatever challenges they were facing. I researched for the fun of it. That's the honest truth. So I had a lot of answers to what a lot of people were asking in the group. And before even arriving in the UK, my name had somehow stuck to the minds of those in the cohort. And then I received an email randomly one day in class about, contesting to run for the student union. And I jokingly filled the form. In all honesty, I filled it out of just, one of those things. Long story short, I ended up winning the election and I became the academic experience officer. Now, on that was on the back of me, being spending many years in education and then being on campus. So it kind of brought both what I have known before together with what I was studying. And at the end of the day, I had developed and worked on a project that had to do with being able to leverage the student union as a means to um, drive leadership in business and all of that. Interestingly, Fran was my project supervisor, and we're just having a chat at the back earlier, and I said, I guess you still remembered my presentation. That's why you invited me here today. Because this is one of the things I had said in my project that I was going to do. So I moved on from that and then worked with the careers team on projects, and they introduced me to FinTech Node, who I currently work with today as the talent upskilling manager, and while also building my startup. I'd never left my business behind. Even while I moved into the UK, I brought that business with me here. So the thing is this: for us that migrate into the UK to study, I want to build a career, nothing in your journey is a complete waste. So imagine what triggered the whole thing: a failure in my business, right? Triggered and just came down up on where I am today, speaking with you, speaking at conferences, and helping people navigate that journey from leaving their home country to building a life in the UK.
Fantastic.
For me, it's getting the opportunity to be able to serve students, right? That was pretty pivotal for me because I've I've always loved the idea of leading a community and leading ideas, and um, giving that opportunity, students trusting me from just engagement in the community. When I got here and joined the MBA course, I was one of the first person in my cohort to start making friends and building connection across different lines, right? I have Chinese friends, Vietnamese friends, and so I literally knew at least one person in each of the different cultural communities, right? And that was a very pivotal point because the student union gave me that opportunity to be able to connect with these different people. I think working with colleagues at the university as well, I got the chance to work with Phil, the DVC of academics. I got the chance to work with a lot of people in the library because, like I said, I research for the fun of it, right? I got the chance to work with a lot of people in the library. I got the chance to work with people in careers. Even those in knowledge exchange, right? We even developed a program, Eureka, that we for business competition and all of that. So that kind of prepared me for the professional life in the UK.
Yeah. So, in short, saying yes to an opportunity opened a whole series of things. Just
What advice would you give? Sorry, yeah, you go. What advice would you give yourself now if you were looking back?
So if I was looking back now, one of the advice I would give myself is making sure that I stay in touch with the community of students, which is something that was an advantage for me. Now, if you are leaving your country, leaving your home, coming to a new country to study a course in a university or in an environment you probably don't know much about, I think the best thing you want to do is to be in close contact with those that are in your immediate community. So those that are maybe from the same country of heritage, from the same course, like Tej just mentioned that we met in the MBA course, right? And then we ran for student union together and all of that. Like I mentioned earlier, interestingly, I didn't know she was going to talk about that, right? I said earlier, I had friends across cultural lines, right? And that's an advice I would always give myself, even though I was to look back 3 years ago. I was mentioning to some people during the coffee break that these cohorts, they are pretty, lucky because we're having these conversations now. 3 years ago, there was nothing like this, right? So if we have anything like this, the second advice I would give is find yourself in places like this kind of environment where people are discussing solutions and then thinking forward and not just thinking the immediate. Like someone mentioned at the call, he knows that money is good, immediate money, you want to get, part-time work and all of that, but those connections that you build are pretty important. That would be my chip in.
open for another question and say, hey, we might come to you as a first. So we've got a hand up at the back there, yeah.
Hiya guys. I've been told that your past experience don't really matter when you're applying for your next job in the UK. Is it true, or have I been around people with wrong perception?
Did you catch that question? So you were saying that you've been given some advice, but actually what you've done before doesn't really matter. And
Yeah.
you're saying, is that truth or is that a lie?
That's the
questions. Any more
Can
questions?
I
in the
just
room?
chip in
Yes.
onto that?
Yes.
So I'll tell you a quick story, right? My current role as the talent upskilling manager at FinTech North, I got that role because of my experience in education. So talent upskilling basically means helping people who want to come into the fintech sector, upskill into the fintech sector, and those who are in financial services or professional services cross over into the fintech sector. So one of the key things they wanted in the role is somebody with experience of teaching and training. Now, every other person I think about 40 or 50 odd of us applied for that role, and about 18 of us got to the second interview, and I got hired for that role. And it was later I found out that it was because of my prior 10 years experience in teaching. That was why I got the role. Now, I had taught in education outside of the UK, and I had taught between ages 5 up until ages 16. Now, according to the employer, if I am able to teach a 5-year-old a concept, I wouldn't be able to teach anybody fintech skills. And that was how I got the job. So no, like Said said, no skill, no experience is irrelevant. It's how you tailor it towards the role you are applying for. I don't know if that helps.
Chat. Yeah. Any other questions in the room? We've probably got time for one more question before we head into the final sessions. Yes.
It is mandatory to do extra courses like certificate courses apart from the college module courses or any certificate courses apart from college, like apart from our module courses. It is mandatory to do it.
So the question is, has it been, well, maybe we just hear about the experience of those in the room. Have you found that you've been asked to do more things when you've been presenting yourself for opportunities? There's been expectation that you have, is that the sort of feedback you've heard?
So, one of the key things we learned in marketing, right? Consider every other applicant as a competition, right? Now, it's up to you whether you want to do an additional certification or not. However, if that certification will give you an edge over the next person, do it. And like Drew said, don't just do it, practice it and deliver the skills. One thing I know about Tej is she studied marketing and she studied MBA with us, but her specialty is marketing. I can't do marketing as much as she did, even though I was in the same cohort with her, right? I am more in finance and business management. So look for your specialty, look for that thing that gives you the edge and hold on to that to be able to beat your competition to get the job.